of our community is due to our values. We welcome the changes that keep us young and vibrant, while also celebrating and honoring our heritage. And our speakers this morning are men that are at the forefront of that success. I'm excited for this morning's program, The State of the Community. It's important that we all know what's happening where we live, work, and play. And I'm not going to read their bios. I've printed some of them. They're on the table if you would like to read them. But without further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker to the stage this morning, Mayor Steve Lawrence, to update us on the city of Jasper.
Thank you. So good morning. Okay, I'm going to put this thing down. And make sure that you can still hear me. So thank you for those kind remarks. I appreciate everything that everyone does for our city. I especially appreciate ETC. And I might have a little slide for them at a later time that you could pay attention to. So the Chamber of Commerce has invited us to do this, and once a year we have the opportunity to come and speak before you, and I cannot really think of a more appropriate forum to talk about our city. At this time, I'd also like to recognize, even if he's not here, Donnie Craig, our sheriff, and Commission Chair Kris Stancil, who is here, for working together with our city during my term of office. I believe that we are truly a community united in leadership. From the city of Jasper, I would like to recognize council members, Jim Lenny. Jim, raise your hand, it doesn't hurt you. And also Dr. Sonny Proctor, and appreciate you being here this morning with your issues.
Which issues are those, Steve?
Well, we're not going to talk about the mental now, I'm talking about the physical side. And I also want to recognize from our city, Tara Benson. Tara, raise a hand. Okay, stand up, Tara, because they can't see that hand. And our city manager, Sonia James, is here. Sonia. And also with us is our assistant city manager, Kim Goldner. Kim, thank you so much for being here. So when I stand before you as mayor, I represent a group of 75 employees, including, not including our council, which is another 5 plus myself. So the bottom line is that some of those 75 dig our water and sewer lines. Some maintain our parks, some pay the bills, some supervise our day-to-day, and our council members serve in different committees, and in every way possible, our council and our city employees all keep our city alive and well. All of them serve daily in the trenches, and it is to every one of them that I give thanks for our accomplishments. And as I was compiling our list of city accomplishments, I quickly recognized 2 important things. First, we have completed a lot of very important improvements that cannot be seen. So I'm going to give you an illustration of that on my very first slide with ETC. And I want you to think about the accomplishments that I'm going to bring forward to you. And of those, which ones can you drive by City Hall and see? And which ones can you not? So I think this is going to be an interesting way to show you our improvements by these pictures that represent the good work that we have done. I'm going to start with my story about fiber optics. So Dr. Robert Keller with the Atlantic Coast Conservancy that I knew before I became mayor had fiber optics installed in his building Conservancy in downtown. And he also had GIS information system. And that system is something used for measuring. For us, it's like our water and sewer lines, so that you can put your entire water and sewer infrastructure that's underground into GIS and then push a button and it'll bring it up for you. I have to give Lonnie Waters credit for that. Lonnie's no longer with the city, but the reason you do that type of, as a city, is that you don't want to lose the institutional knowledge that Lonnie has in his head. Now, we haven't lost Lonnie, but he has retired and gone to another organization, which he's probably going to do some of that same work for them, and I'm happy with that. So, I knew about fiber optics, and I decided that what I would like to do is put fiber optics in City Hall, and call up ETC and say, hey guys, we'd like to have fiber optics. Well, no problem. And about 30 days later, they actually did have fiber optics in City Hall. I appreciate them doing that. The bottom line is that there's this thing called the law of unintended consequences. Now, what happened with that is that every action that you take has some unforeseen actions that are going to have problems. What we did is we have every municipality has a firewall. Good information is supposed to go in one side, and only good goes through. Well, our firewall was so old that they said that it does not recognize fiber optics. So my law of unintended consequence was, number one, we had to replace our firewall. Well, I took that to City Council with a little bit of egg and face, and they approved it. So we had changed our firewall out. Then once we had that done, we started looking at our systems, and they were running some version of Windows that I had forgotten about. It was so old. And so the bottom line is we decided we needed to go back to council and get permission to change out our workstations. And by doing that, it took us almost a year. So my thinking that at the end of 30 days with fiber optics that, oh, this is not that hard a job. Well, it's a lot harder than what it looked like, but we got that done. Now, in the process of doing all of this, we discovered that we had commercial customers on water who were paying the very same price as residential. And in no world that I know of in city government is that allowed. So we started finding, why did we not have the ability to do that? And it turns out that our billing software would not accommodate tiered structure on billing. So we decided to change our billing. Thanks City Council, because they still were looking for them and they're looking for results. And so we did that, but I thought that would be like a 90-day process. I did that a couple of times in my business, and imagine my surprise when they told me it was a 2-year process. But we now have absolutely new billing structure inside of City Hall. By the way, I don't think you can drive by and see that either. So we upgraded our geographical information system, GIS, for our water lines and for our sewer lines. And we've also done some other things on there. We want to put wastewater on there eventually, and I think that's going to happen too. We rewrote our city charter. Hadn't been done since Lee Newton was mayor, and that was about 1983. Now that city charter governs every single thing that we do as a city. So we took that, after it was done with a collaborative team, we took that to our state representative, and I don't think he's here this morning. And he took it to the legislature. They passed it, and so now we have a new city charter. We went down and the governor signed that with a few of us in presence. I appreciate that day very much. We updated all of our building city codes. Again, a collaborative effort. Again, work is done. Again, it's also work that you cannot see that we have done that. We remodeled our police station and created municipal court chambers in it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to, you can drive down there and take a look at that, go inside, and we also have that for a voting precinct. We put new playground equipment down at our city park. All of you probably know that by the duck pond, but we did that in 2 different sections, and we spent about $100,000. We also are redoing all of the pavement around there so that everybody can walk around. So those type of things are being ongoing, and we will have that in better shape than when we first started. I also want to speak to Doris Wigginton Park. The trails that we put in there should be done at the end of this year. As to Perot Park, it's still underway. We have a $1 million grant that we've applied for, and we'll have matching funds that need to go with that, but we would love to see a significant amount of progress before the end of this year as far as a plan for that park. We also increased our city parking by about 15 spots, put on a piece of property that the city owned before I became mayor, and I've used that a couple of times myself, especially at when I couldn't find a parking place on downtown. That I call a good thing. I never get upset when I have to park off the street, because that means that our town is growing and thriving. I hope all of you have enjoyed Stigall Drive. When we started that, this was a community effort by our Downtown Development Authority, our Chamber of Commerce, all of the elected, and any volunteers that we could round up that would move heavy stuff. So the bottom line is we got sponsors for everything that was put in there, and if you look at the picture on the left, you will see the volunteers waving. And then if you look on the right, you will see the result. I would say that from what became an experiment for us, turned into a very good thing that we have now made permanent. We appreciate Coca-Cola for what they just recently did to put new tables out there. Those look so good, and I know that they're going to be used as we go forward this year. We partnered with Pickens County to put a water line to Gilmer County, because we're also trying to get all the sources of water that we can, not just for now, but for the future. And we've got a good program to do that. We're buying 200,000 gallons of water per day from Cherokee County, and I appreciate our city council stepping up on that. That was a pretty good sized check, but it also brings a lot of water to us. And we're looking for other sources. We also get water through our partnership with the county from Grandview Lake. We partnered with Pickens County to pass laws to roll back taxes for everyone, and that's always a good thing. We thank them for their efforts. And as to what we are doing now, we are creating a master plan for water and sewer. When a developer comes to us and says, I want to put another 250 units in downtown in our city limits, then we need to know that we can support what they want to do. And we felt like a master plan was the way to go about doing that, and we're in that. We're in that now, and we expect to have some results back from that master plan, hopefully by the end of this month. We're installing 6,000 new water meters. This will help our loss ratio on water. It will also speed up our billing, and it's going to be radio read so that our customers will have a better idea of exactly what their use is. We applied for a USDA grant and a loan, and that grant and loan will allow us to double the sewer capacity that we have at present. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an $18 million project. It is ongoing, and we feel like we're progressing towards having that done. It will probably be another year and a half before we get that accomplished. We applied for and received a $500,000 grant for engineering studies and repair of new and existing sidewalks. That is something I've been trying to get done for 3 years. So I'll be very happy to see any progress that we do on that. And I'm speaking to our ladies at our table who manage that process for us. So thank you so much. We partnered with our Downtown Development Authority, and they come up with the idea of Second Saturday. That has turned out to be a great participation, and it's also turned out to bring a bunch of people downtown to see what we have done to revitalize our downtown. We're going to do that again. That led to Art Walk, which was an affiliation with PACA and also our DDA. And that also turned out to be something that we're going to do again this year. Now, as to what we must do, this is my opinion, but all of us remember Christmas and the 5 degrees that we wound up with having as a temperature for some period of time. And if it did nothing else, it identified the issues that we have with infrastructure. We must address those issues. So since that's something that hasn't been done in the last, I'm not going to tell you how many years, then it now falls on us to start that process, and we will work on that process diligently. We partnered with Pickens County to create a comprehensive plan. This is updated every 10 years, and we started year 5, and then you go forward, and we're underway with that now. We must put on 515 a new police and fire building. I think that as we've increased with all of the people that have found us, then we need to be more responsive with police and fire, and we're looking forward to finding a piece of property suitable for that. So if you've got about 5 acres out there that you don't need, we would gratefully appreciate your calling us, and we'll instantly talk to you. Thank you. If you want to donate, we'd really thank you. And it's interesting that we have a city hall that was once a restaurant. I don't know how many people in the room remember that or ate there, but it was once a restaurant, and it's gotten to the point now where with all of the people that we have, we're out of room. We were out of room a year ago. We were out of room 2 years ago, but we may do as usual. Now we need to start the process of searching for some way to upgrade that, and hopefully we will look at some future plans for that now. We're going to work with GDOT, who has come up with a comprehensive plan to change our traffic patterns downtown. What that will look like when we get done, you can look at the pattern that they show you, but nobody knows exactly what that's going to look like or how it's going to work. We're just going to struggle through until it's all over. Then we'll see. I think it'll be fine. We live in a world of constant change. A lot of people have found Jasper and want to move here and share with us the natural beauty of our mountains and join with us in sharing the warmth and vitality and our old-fashioned down-home hospitality. I love the fact that we are so comfortable with each other that we can bring in new people and show them what we have as far as hospitality goes. Our great challenge is to manage that flow of growth while still preserving our small downtown atmosphere. After all, this is Jasper, and we do love it. So much has been done and much remains to be done. This is the beginning of my 4th year as mayor. I have told everyone that I will run one more term. That will be my last. It'll also be my 2nd. But I will run one more time if the people of Jasper decide that that's the right thing for them. Thank you so much. I don't want to get these other papers.
Thank you, Mayor, and that's great information. And I think we all are very confident in the fact that while we see a lot of the positive changes that are made, there are many behind the scenes that we don't see. So we know that the mayor, the council, and staff are always working to better our city, and we truly, truly do appreciate all that you do for us. And so at this time, oh, and I worked at the McClellan House Restaurant. That is what City Hall used to be. That was my first job, just saying, and they had some good fried chicken. And at this time, I would like to invite up Commission Chair Kris Stancil to give us a little update on the county.
Well, we've learned there's, for the most part, nobody remembers these speeches a year later after we do this every single year. We spend a lot of time preparing and getting ready. There's usually two ways that you can pull it off. One is you can be absolutely perfect, flawless, and everything's going to go great. The other is screw up really, really, really bad. And then you become the blooper reel. So hopefully I can achieve one of those two. I think one is probably going to be the more realistic option. When I looked at the agenda, I thought I had the opportunity to be the opening act for the mayor, so I was really looking forward to just kind of warming the crowd up and bringing him up. But then when we came up, I do appreciate the mayor and your presentation and all that City of Jasper is doing. Thank you for all that you've done. I also am very envious of Amberly Godfrey energy at 7 o'clock in the morning. When she gets up here and starts to talk, it really makes you feel like, okay, I really don't need to go back up there after this because I'm not awake yet. So hopefully we'll go through, we're going to present some information today. We're going to kind of take a snapshot of our annual report, try to give you just the bigger picture of what's going on. I think in this short window of time, it's really difficult to give you a full state of the county because there's so many different things that are going on. So this is kind of an introductory snapshot as to what all is happening. When we get to the budget portion, I'll go ahead and explain we're unique because our fiscal year matches our calendar year, which means that auditors have 6 months to conduct your audit at the end of the year before you finally have your 2022 certified audit this complete. So that'll be June before we can truly give a full annual report when the auditors do complete the 2022 audit. It's unique. Cherokee County, I think, has October is the beginning of their fiscal year. The state is July is the beginning of their fiscal year. I think ours helps us in some ways, but it makes it complicated in some ways when you're given a report in April. People want to know how can you tell us how the year ended, and we can give you our ballpark figures, but until it's been audited, it's something that we try to be careful about going through. I would be remiss if I didn't thank several people for what they've done to make this possible. I know we have several from the county that are here today. Miss Lisa Thompson, who is the county clerk, is appointed as our county clerk. She keeps all of us straight. I don't know how we would survive and do our job without her. Graham Parker. Graham's one of the three that really did a lot of work putting together this presentation. He's our communications guy. Over the next few months, you'll get to know him pretty well, at least his voice. He's created an Around Pickens podcast, so he's going to be sitting and talking with different departments, different areas within the county and putting it out there. And he's got a great voice for radio, so just stay away from him if you're trying to hire anybody because we love him. Greg Goldman's actually not a county employee. Greg works with Eclipse, but Eclipse does manage all of our IT services. Greg's here as well. We kind of treat him like an employee. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes for his sake it's probably not. Chief Tim Prather is here. He's our fire chief, oversees all the fire and EMS operations, and does an outstanding job. We were fortunate as he retired from Cherokee County to get him to come back home where he's lived and where he started his career, and we're very, very pleased to have him. And then today we also have our West End Commissioner, Commissioner Josh Tippins is here with us as well. And him along with Commissioner Tatum have been doing an outstanding job. So I'm sure, I saw Jamie walk in. We've also got some of our maintenance crew that's here. A couple other individuals may have snuck in the back and I missed you. So if you did, it's your own fault. You didn't come and tell me you were here, so I can't recognize you. I do thank ETC for being our sponsor. They made me a little nervous when they said they treat you like family. When I walk in, I don't know if I'm the senile grandpa or the crazy uncle, but they do treat me like family. Alan especially. So, been great partners. They do a fantastic job. We love working closely with them. So thank you guys for that. Just to give a snapshot, a picture of kind of how county government is set up. This is kind of our flow chart. You've got the Board of Commissioners and how everything flows underneath there. We've got it divided up into 2 categories just to try to help with the span of control. Under administrative side, we've got the buildings, grounds, communications, finance, grants, economic development, human resources, parks and rec, planning and development, public works, recycling, and water, all kind of falling in that category. Under public safety is animal services, county marshal, emergency management, fire, 911. And that kind of keeps that category going. One thing that's unique with the county is we also have all the boards and authorities that are appointed by the Board of Commissioners, but they don't answer directly to us. So we have an airport authority, there's a beer and wine board, the Board of Elections. Each of these have their own requirements by law as to how those appointments are made. We also have other elected officials. I think a lot of people think everyone works for the commissioners, which is not the case. I'd love for you to tell Judge Weaver that she worked for the Board of Commissioners and see how that conversation went after you got finished with it. But other elected officials, even though we do set the budget and take their budget requests, they run their office. They're the ones that are held accountable for running their offices. So you've got the clerk of the Superior Court, coroner, magistrate judge, probate judge, the sheriff, and tax commissioner all are held accountable for running their offices, and each, I think, are doing a great job. To give you a picture of how big county government is, we've got 299 full-time employees that are under the direct span of control of the Board of Commissioners. That's all of those departments we just listed. By the time you add fire and water and public safety and all those different categories, they start to add up. Many of those are 24-hour shift rotations. Out of that, 28 are part-time, and then we have 105 temporary employees. So that's swimming pool, basketball referees, football, baseball, all the other sports that come in. They're considered to be temporary employees. One kind of unique stat is we have 1 employee for every 66 citizens when you break it down in the total of our population. Your post commissioners, it's kind of unique when you see the way the line that divides the east and the west. It doesn't follow one road, and I think a lot of people get confused by that. It's designed to be an equal split of population. So every 10 years, when the census is done, they take a look at, did that change? Does the boundary line need to change so that it stays as an equal split? This past census actually stayed within 1%, less than 1% of growth change from the east side and the west side. So they both grew at a fairly equal time, which surprised a lot of us. I think everybody expected to see one side growing faster than the other. But it did stay. We have Commissioner Josh Tippins, who represents the west side of Pickens County, and Commissioner Josh Tatum representing the east side. I want to thank the voters of Pickens County for hiring 2 Joshes and 2 Josh T's to be in that role so that I can mess up and call the wrong name almost every single time. For some reason, I'm convinced that Josh Tippins is the east side and Josh Tatum is the west side. I say it wrong almost every meeting, but I'm hoping by the end of our first terms, we'll all be there and go through. If you look at our budget, this is the one slide that's our current year budget, 2023. There's 4 different funds of money, 4 different accounts of funds. You have the general fund, which is your primary fund that funds almost all departments. But in addition to that, we have an airport fund, a water fund, and judicial grants that are kind of divided into those other categories. We did create a 911 as well that hadn't been separated on this screen. But our total general fund budget is $32.8 million. That's 26.1 is coming from taxes. You can take a look just at the breakdown. This kind of gives people a better picture and seeing where those funds go. Almost 50% goes to public safety. If you look beyond public safety and look into judicial, you add those 2 together, you've got close to $20 million goes to public safety and judicial. Those are 2 very expensive categories because they're 24/7, and we have to make sure that they're funded to take care of what they have going on. One reason we have a separate judicial grants, and I've got to give credit to Judge Weaver for this, she works very, very difficult to secure a lot of grants to provide a lot of programs that several counties do not have. So those grants, you can see in here, create the revenue of $4.5 million that are used in programs for the entire circuit. So it's Pickens, Gilmer, and Fannin. Any expenses beyond what the grants provide are split up amongst those 3 counties. It is managed here in Pickens, but we're not the ones responsible for all of it. When you see the taxes and you see how much the total taxes were, now I will point out the number is a little bit different. This is for 2023, the budget for taxes is 26.1. In 2022, at the end of the year, the total was 25.3. The breakdown of that, 52.8% comes from real property. Only 0.6% comes from alcohol, so if the tasting room and some of you others could beef that up a little bit, we'd appreciate it. Getting those sales numbers to increase. 10.9% comes from motor vehicles, 8.7% is from insurance. This just kind of gives you a breakdown idea. One of the things that the mayor made reference that of loss, the local option sales tax, that shows up as one of the revenue items that are brought in as tax. That's rolled back, so that increases what we're able to roll back to the property owners. You can look at our millage rate, 22.2 millage rate. The school is at 12.9%. The county is at 7.438. So that gives you a total millage rate of 20.3. If you look at that from 2021, that total millage rate reduced by 7.13%. I'd love to take credit for the majority of that. I can't. The school system actually rolled theirs back significantly last year, and the county was able to roll back as well. So the combination of those two made it a 7.1% reduction in your overall millage rate. You can look at our court system just to kind of get a picture of how busy they are. When we look at that budget, number of civil cases opened in 22 was 483. Criminal cases is 1,508 criminal cases that were opened into the court system. The unique part about seeing this is look at how many have been disposed. So you had 1,508 come in, 290 have been disposed. So they're still working through those cases very actively. So you're starting to see more and more activity going on. 309 juvenile cases, were 265 of those were disposed of by the end of the year. You can see those elected in the court system. That are right over there. You got Chief Judge Brenda Weaver, Judge John Moister, Judge Mary Beth Priest, and then probate, you've got Judge Lindsay. Magistrate, you've got Judge Morris. The district attorney is Allison Sosby, and then Jennifer Jordan serves as our clerk of court. If you look into our fire and EMS side, just to get a snapshot of what all they were doing last year, I've responded to 124 fires, 78 false alarms, 3 aircraft accidents. Looking at some of the total training hours that these guys put in was 5,653. 911 answered 19,503 emergency calls. And then in addition to the 59,344 non-emergency calls. I think those are numbers that many of you will be shocked in. When you go down and you watch the 3 to 4 people sitting there answering those phone calls, 24 hours a day, you'll be impressed. This is 911 Appreciation Week this week, so we celebrate the incredible staff that we've got. If you've ever had to call 911, I hope you haven't, but if you ever have, the comforting nature of that voice on the other end and how much they can change your life and how calm they're able to keep people always amazes me. And then if you're in public safety, and I see Chief Dawkins out here, having a good dispatcher answering that radio on the other side and giving you clear information when you're asking for it is life-changing. I get Deputy Williams in the front too, so they can definitely make a big difference. One thing that we did do in 2022, and it's one commitment that the Board of Commissioners had made last year, was to take any increase in revenue from the increase of property values from last year and assign that to public safety. So you can see that we gave a $3.50 per hour raise that took effect in January of this year for public safety. One of the largest raises that have been given, and it gets us to a competitive rate. We were that far behind the surrounding counties and cities, and we're still not fully got up, but we're competitive now. We can put a salary out there that shows that we're right there with everyone else. The average response time shows 11.4 minutes. Now keep in mind that's emergency and non-emergency. The emergency calls that come out have a faster response time. Non-emergency has a little bit slower, and when you average those two together, it actually brings it up a tiny bit. I know Chief Prather's constantly studying that number and constantly working with his staff to try to figure out what can we do. And sometimes that means we've got to put stations in different places to reduce that time. So those are things we have to pay attention to as we go. Some other things that went on with fire and EMS this year, the Lucas device. I know Piedmont Hospital's here. They were kind to make a donation toward the end of last year. It's a chest compression device that administers CPR. It's incredible while they're transporting the patient to the hospital. They can strap that device on and it provides the chest compressions. It's pretty fascinating when you look at it, but it's a life-saving tool. It's been used several times since the donation, actually. And hopefully, I know of at least one success story from it. I don't know on the others. I probably should have gathered that information before I brought that up. Logan's Law is a cool database that our 911 center uses. It's a database for special needs residents. That way, if you have a special needs child or if you have a situation in your home that you think that emergency responders needs to know, you can provide that, and when your 911 call comes in and the address is pulled up, it will let them know to allow the officer to know that potentially there's a child with autism, there's something that there may be somebody that's blind, somebody that's deaf, some very valuable information that's there. You can reach out through the non-emergency number with the 8911 to get the information for that. Prepared Live enables 911 dispatch center to live stream and video chat, receive multimedia, and receive location from mobile callers in real time. When somebody calls 911 with technology that we have now with cell phones, they have the ability to now show what they're talking about on the phone. So the live stream gives the 911 dispatcher the ability to see what's happening. So if a child were to call from a cell phone, they were able to activate this, you'd be able to gather the information that was needed so much better. Our marshal's office, this number is kind of low, and I'll explain. We had a new marshal that came in mid-year and changed the way that he compiled statistics. So we got a good 6 months of incredible information. It was kind of hard to merge with the previous 6 months because the stats were kept a little bit different. But in that time, we've had 267 cases that the marshal's office has received. 239 of those are closed. Most of those are a simple phone call or a simple visit, and people comply. And they're able to do that. 11 are still open. 1 led to an arrest. It had some other criminal element along with it. 13 citations, and then 3 were unfounded. You can look over in our animal shelter. We've had 451 adoptions this past year. We've also done 500 microchips. Some of the low-cost adoption events at the animal shelter during several of the holidays, Easter, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day, and Christmas, it's either low-cost or free adoption so that we're able to help move animals out of the shelter. And they do a fantastic job trying to keep that going. Road department in 22, we had 74 road culverts replaced. And then when you look at road chip, which chip sealed is what commonly was referred to as tar and gravel, where they go through, it's a slow process because typically when we tar and gravel a road, it means we're widening that road to improve it, so you don't see the distance as often, and it's done internally by our crews. We have 4,800 feet of road chip seal done. That was Talc Mine Road, the majority of it. 21.4 miles were resurfaced last year. That included Hill City Road and Grandview Road was one of our largest projects that took place last year. The county actually maintains 401 miles of roads. So when you look at 401 miles of roads, that's 800 miles of roadside. So when you see the grass or you see things, ditches and things like that, they're working their way through trying to get them clean. And when it rains real heavy, you get to start all over. And then every time a tree comes down, you have to pull those crews to go get the trees and then go back to start back up. So they're moving at as fast a pace as they can. Some exciting things that we've got going. We just went out to bid on paving for projects for 2023. We will be finishing the project on Cove Road. When we patched it last year, we're actually going to resurface it this year as one of the projects that was put out to bid. Jerusalem Church Road, if you live near Jerusalem Church Road or if you've driven it in a long time, it's being patched and paved, so there will be a lot of milling to fix some of the areas and then resurfacing as well. Wormley Crossroads is also on that list for projects for this year. Water Department, one unique stat on this slide We had 172 meter cells last year. And with the growth that we've all seen, everybody would think that that's extremely high. The average over the last 5 years of meter cells has been 171. So we exceeded our mark by one. We really are just above average for the year with 172 over one. One thing about we have 300 miles of water lines in the county. We are a 100% purchase system, meaning we're a wholesaler. We bring water in and then sell that out to customers. Is from a variety of different points. The Cherokee County Utilities Inc., Gilmer County, Calhoun, and Jasper are the different sources. We were able to just increase the capacity of what we can pull from Cherokee County by 500,000 gallons a day. So that was a wonderful tool that we were able to do to make sure that we're prepared. We did a major project on Long Swamp Road to connect customers in that area, or to make water available by installing that. Upcoming projects that we've got that we're either currently working on or we're about to start is to install 22,000 feet of water main. We're also going to upgrade our GIS system. I know the mayor referenced that they lost someone that retired. We might have found somebody that they retired when they lost them, so they are working with us closely on getting the GIS system implemented for the county and doing a great job. Upgrading some meter reading software, we'll be able to read those more accurately. Our system right now has 7 water tanks and 7 booster pumps that are active, and some of those things run quite constant. Recycling, one of the exciting things. You can look at the total at the bottom, over 1.2 million pounds of materials were recycled in 2022. I think when we talk about culture and we talk about different things and different groups and priorities, one of the great things that's happened over the last couple decades is people really trying to prevent putting things into the landfill. And we were able to keep 1.2 million pounds out of the landfill through recycling this year. We've essentially hired a stockbroker to run our recycling center. And when I say that, if you ever meet Kenny, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. He loves to buy low, sell high. So every time that the recycled materials are coming through, he's constantly studying the market as to who's paying the most for whatever product it is and selling it at that time. So you may drive up there one day and see that we've got stuff baled and stacked all the way to the ceiling. It means they're not paying much at that time. He's waiting for the price to go up, and then whenever they start buying recycled materials at a higher rate, he jumps on it. I accuse him of sometimes running schemes up there, but he's a valuable member of our team that's trying to get that done. Our planning and development office, you can look here in 22, we had 235 new residential stick-built home permits that were issued, 64 mobile home permits that were issued, which was up from a couple of years prior. If you look at the housing market, it became, and I hate to use the term affordable housing, but it became the more affordable option in 2022 as the cost of materials and everything went through the roof. But even that, the average came in over $200,000 for mobile homes. They had 275 miscellaneous permits, 28 were commercial as well. We did see, as far as business license that were issued, a 6% increase. We're now up to 155 business licenses for unincorporated Pickens County. 22 rezones were heard, 2 variances. When you see 9 new subdivisions, I think everybody has a mental picture of what a subdivision is. A subdivision, by definition, is 3 or more. So if you were to split your property into 3 homes, it would technically be considered a subdivision. So anything that falls in there, we did have 9 that met that criteria. The one interesting statistic, if you look at Pickens County statistics, is to look at the average home size. Heated and unheated combination of 3,589 is now the average home size in Pickens County. I'm a below average guy for sure, but I would like to clean that, so I'm okay with staying below average in that category. If you look at parks and recreation, one thing that's really exciting that just happened is we finally have lights on our ball fields so kids can practice and play into the evening. We've got a new LED light system that went live. We've been waiting on parts, like I think every other construction project, for a very long time. But it's live, and one of the reasons we're excited about that is if you look at who all we're serving. In football, you've got 171 boys and 8 girls. In basketball, 258 boys, 161 girls. Obviously, they play inside, so it's split in there. Baseball, 212, softball, 117, and then t-ball, 185 boys and 71 girls that are participating and playing in sports. It's exciting to go and watch. We entered into an agreement with Jasper last year to put kids practicing and playing on the Jasper fields as well. So we're trying to spread the love and make sure that that's going on in as many places as we can. We did just go out to bid for a resurfacing project to repave the walking path all around Roper Park and actually expand it to where it connects into a circle. So that advertisement just has been placed, and we're going to get that project up and running right as soon as we can. So that's going to be an exciting one just going through. If you look just at demographics on Pickens County as a whole, we're 233 square miles. If you look at the average, the median age, which is kind of shocking when you see the breakdown, is 46.2. We're really high on the top end, and we're really high on the low end. If you look over at the little statistic of the multicolored person over there, you can see where the different population trends of percentages are there. 55 to 64 age group makes up 15.6% of our population, but 0 through 14 makes up 16.3% of our population. And then 65 and over is 21.8% of our population. It changes the type of things that we have to serve. Our EMS calls go through the roof, but our law enforcement calls go down, the older the age population. So you do see medical calls that are increased significantly, but you see a reduce in some other needs that are there. Unique statistic for Pickens County that's if you look at the median household income in the state of Georgia, it's $61,000. In Pickens County, it's $71,000. I can drive you to about 50% of the county, and you'll be shocked and scratching your head trying to figure out how that's possible. We have some very, very wealthy people on the high end, and we have some very, very impoverished people on the low end. And those averages come up to that 71,000 mark in the middle. It speaks volumes to how many people want to live here, that have made this their destination and are building those homes that we were describing. But it also speaks volumes of we still have a needy population that we have to continue to serve. And so we've got to make sure that we don't forget one side just because the other side got strong. So we try to focus on that as often as we can. Industry mix in the county, we can see on the top for top employers. Now they took out government. So Pickens County government and the school system are not factored into these, but Piedmont Hospital is the top employer in Pickens County with 550. Followed behind that is Royston with 250, all the way down to Emco Electric has 90. Top industries, when you look at the breakdown in industries, you have retail still, because it's such a collective group of everything, makes up 15%, local government 13%. Healthcare is 13% of the top industry in our community, and that kind of shows the general breakdown. One of our top employers, and as I've met commissioners from the state and been talking to people throughout the state of Georgia, one of the things that we are very, very fortunate, and when you get to meeting commissioners from South Georgia who live in counties that have no healthcare access, especially over the last few years, will tell you how vital it is to have a good hospital. Our top employer in our county is Piedmont MOUNTAINSIDE. They've got a 52-bed hospital, and I know I'm scared to give out stats because I can see them back there. I'm reaching the knees, look at them right now, and just in case I get them wrong. I think somebody actually got it from your staff, so if it's wrong, someone fell apart in the middle. You can see the number of awards that Piedmont MOUNTAINSIDE have received. They're staffed by over 400 physicians, 400 employees, 200 physicians, 24-hour emergency care, general surgical and diagnostical, heart care, orthopedic care, sleep services, women's care, and wound care. I think one of the things that's left off of here, but that we're very fortunate is with the, now I'll change different terms, what we refer to as ICU as common people, but with the intensive care unit, and being able to have the quality of an ICU that's there has been phenomenal for our community. And when you looked at our population demographics, I think you understand why Piedmont MOUNTAINSIDE has decided to invest significantly in Pickens County. And I'll go back so you can see that 21.8% of our population is over 65. So the need for these services increases significantly as we go. So we're very, very fortunate to have them and what they are able to provide. Plus they're connected to the mothership in Atlanta with Piedmont Atlanta, so you've got access to a lot of things that are there. One of the things as we try to sum up what we do, and we try to think of, what is our mission as a government. And if you've gone through any leadership class, and everybody always talks about the importance of a mission statement. The mission statement's got to be something you can achieve. Otherwise, it's just, you put a bunch of bullet points up. And I think that one is to provide a transparent local government, to be willing to be honest and to put it all out in front of people. Focus on consistently protecting the soul of our community while working towards smart economic growth and the greatest quality of life for all who choose to make Pickens County their home or destination. So that's our goal. That's why we do what we do. That's what we continue to try to fight for. I think we're excited to have the full Board of Commissioners be on board to really do all we can to serve. I think that it's been a neat experience, and we're excited to continue to do it. So thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. I appreciate the chance to come and speak. And hopefully I didn't fall into that second category I described earlier as bad as what I possibly could have. Thank you.
Thanks, Commission Chair Stancil. And I want to again thank Mayor Lawrence, his council and staff, and Commission Chair Kris Stancil, and your other two commissioners and your county staff on providing us one of the most amazing places to live. So thank you, Mayor Lawrence and Commissioner Stancil. I think we all can agree this truly is a wonderful place in which we can call home.